Hi, hello, how's it going? My name is Becky and we've got a lot to discuss. The finale for Good Omens came out today, this morning, and I'm gonna talk about it. This isn't gonna be a particularly coherent video because I've just got a lot of feelings and opinions on the matter that I just kind of want to put out there. I'm gonna rip the band-aid off. I didn't like it. I didn't particularly enjoy it, and I actually was quite disappointed with the ending, and I felt genuinely a little bit upset. First thing I want to say about this is I'm not just being hypercritical for the sake of being hypercritical or being pessimistic to just not enjoy it. I actually for a while thought that I had this inability to be critical of specifically endings of TV shows that I really enjoyed. For example, when Ghosts came out and the finale of that aired, there were quite a lot of people that were dogging on it, and I genuinely loved it. I genuinely enjoyed it. Fast forward to the beginning of this year when the finale for Stranger Things came out, everybody was dogging on it. I again genuinely enjoyed it. I wasn't as critical as most people were. So for me to not enjoy the Good Omens finale was a bit of a shock to me because I didn't know I was capable of that. And so because of that, I trust my judgment on this, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, by the way. If you enjoyed the finale, like, that's chill. I'm actually very jealous of you. But it isn't what I wanted from it, and I will never be able to look past that. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the whole of the episode, really, because the most of what I want to talk about is the final kind of 20 minutes. The rest of the episode itself was fine, to be honest, but that's really where my standards were set. Obviously, under the circumstances, it's really hard to make a 6-episode finale into a 90-minute finale. Unfair, it was never going to be something great. With such a big story and so much storylines to kind of wrap up and close, it was never going to be executed perfectly. It was an enjoyable watch for the most part. Was it the best thing I've ever witnessed? No. Even without the ending of this, it would still probably be least on my rankings, but it was fine. Yeah, it was enjoyable. My kind of only two biggest complaints with it, I would say, is the fact they didn't explain where Maggie and Nina went. That's a little bit frustrating to me, even just like a one sentence to say, you know, they're off on the holidays together or something like that. Like, any reason as to why they're not there would have been a lot more pleasing for me, especially because they were a huge part of series 2. But also, my biggest, I suppose, groan with the episode as a whole is the fact they didn't really utilise Jesus much. He kind of just goes to Soho and multiplies some pizza and plays some cards. That's really all he does in the whole 90 minutes. I wish they kind of utilised him a bit more or wrote the story ever so slightly differently, so there were more stakes for Jesus as a character than ultimately what he ended up doing. But I'm gonna delve into the final kind of 20 minutes of the show, the bit where it turned disappointing to me. Yeah, I didn't like it. I was never a fan of the whole they turn into humans ending, because that takes away from the fundamentals of Good Omens for me. The fact that an angel and a demon from opposing sides who are supposed to be polar opposites can actually fall in love and have a relationship. And I really wanted this to be a resolution of them getting rid of this barrier of sides and coming together with the fact that they love one another. And when you turn them into humans, that disregards that. But I actually hate it more after they've handled it the way that they've handled it, because they don't remember one another. After Human Crowley shows up to Human Aziraphale's bookshop, I was waiting for a little like, oh, we actually still know who one another are, we actually have memories of each other. But no, they don't. They don't have any memories of any time that they've spent together. And I'll get into that in a little bit as to why that frustrates me so much, but they don't have any memories of one another. They're just two middle-aged cis men who all of a sudden start a relationship with one another, which is cool, lovely, but those are two men that I now don't know. Now, I was super excited when Southbound showed up. I did for a second think that they had also not done that and forgotten about that, which would have made me even more mad. So I was happy with that, but watching that ending with them sat outside in the garden, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel happiness, I didn't feel love, I didn't feel anything towards that, because these are just two random men that I don't know anymore. So I'm so happy for these human versions of these characters to have a loving relationship with one another. But you can't seriously expect me to care when that's not the characters that I've spent 5 years obsessing over. This is where the issue with them forgetting their memories, or forgetting the times that they spent with one another, losing their memories and just being humans, raised as humans, acting like humans with human experiences, really plays an issue here. Because everything that they experienced as an angel and as a demon, all these triumphs, everything in between is what makes their love so special. It's also what makes them them. So every element that goes into making Aziraphale and Crowley has now been moved away from them. These are just two random people. So I don't care. It's a happy ending for the human version of those two characters, for fucking Asa and Anthony. But that's not who I know, that's not who I love, and that's not who I care about, that's not who I've been waiting to get their happy ending for. It just feels like I've witnessed different characters getting their happy endings and not the ones that I hoped would, and that's why it stings so much. Which is also why I struggle to understand why, if you did genuinely enjoy the finale, why? Because that's not them. And that's something I won't be able to get over that. I won't be able to look past it, and my feelings towards that will never change, I think. I could literally spend hours talking about why I dislike how they handled the human version of it so much, but I feel like that wraps it up enough to understand it. But yeah, I'm really not happy, because I don't know those people. Those are just two different men. Those are just two random dudes that I've never seen in my life before. That's not a zero feeling probably. That's not who have experienced a 6,000 year situationship with one another. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it's lovely that they find each other in every universe and that they are always destined to be together, if you will. I'd seen so many people who did like the finale say, well, they saved humanity and that's the most Crowley and Aziraphale thing to do. That's the most Crowley thing to do. Yeah, I think it's a very Crowley thing to do. I struggle to believe that Crowley would pick saving humanity over being with Aziraphale because of the ending of series 2. He states the fact that life on Earth will be just as dead when heaven ends as if hell did. But he still says to Aziraphale, let's run off together. Let's go to Alpha Centauri together. Screw them. We can be in us. Forget about it. This isn't our mess. We can leave it behind us. We can go experience the life that we should be living. And because of that, I really struggle to believe that he would pick humanity over Aziraphale. But even in that case, even if he did, this is fictional. This isn't real. And especially with it being the absolute finale, there are no kind of repercussions in future because there is nothing to write anymore. That's it. The story ends. You can write whatever you want. So they could have saved humanity, and they could have also kept their happy memories with one another, and they could have gotten their happy ending. I'm sure both of those things could have worked its way into the script and would have made perfect sense for it to do so. Just like, it's driving me crazy that people are acting like it was either they save humanity or humanity doesn't get saved but they have their memories. It's not like they had to save humanity, and if they had to save humanity they have to become humans. No. At the very minimum, they could have saved humanity, became humans, but had the memories with one another, still known who each other were and everything that they've been through, and I would have been happy with that. I would have been much happier with that. Another thing that I'm very not happy with is the fact that there is no kiss. It was really heavily implied, I felt, throughout so much of the promotion and what people were saying, was that there was going to be another Aziraphale kiss. I've seen so many people saying, well, they're asexual people, don't be surprised that you didn't get a kiss. Like, queerness isn't based off of kisses. That's correct. That's absolutely correct. But asexual people still kiss. Like, it's not just devoid of any physical contact ever. But also, we had a kiss in series 2, and I think that moment in series 2, and under the circumstances in which they did kiss, really warrants a parallel one in series 3 when they make up and they realise that they're both happy and in love with one another. A make-up kiss would have been a perfect parallel to what we witnessed in series 2. I would have been fine with no Aziraphale kiss if we didn't get one at all in series 2, but the fact that we did and it was under those circumstances, they should have kissed. They should have kissed in series 3. Even one small tweak, if you kept the human ending, one small tweak that would have made it just what I would have accepted it so much better would be that Aziraphale kisses Crowley just before they cease to exist, and he says, I will find you in another life. And then they do. I would have been just a small acknowledgement of that from them. I would have been so much happier with, but there was nothing. It's like they were just happy to say goodbye to one another. But I don't believe that. Like, I just don't. That, to me, that's mischaracterization of Aziraphale and Crowley. And I think the worst bit about this for me is that I just don't feel anything apart from anger and apart from disappointment. A show that I've cared about a lot for 5 years, and I didn't cry. I didn't get particularly emotional. I feel like I didn't get any payoff that I ultimately do deserve as such a big fan of this show. As I said at the beginning, if you genuinely like the finale, that's awesome, and I'm happy for you, honestly, and I'm jealous. But unfortunately, I just don't think no amount of arguments or trying to tell me to see it from a different perspective will change how I feel, and what I think fundamentally makes Aziraphale, and Good Omens, Good Omens. I'm seeing so many different viewpoints on it all. A lot of people on Twitter are making really good points about it, and a lot of what people are saying are the same as me in terms of these are just two random men now, and I think that's what makes it worse. As ridiculous as it sounds, and it sounds so ridiculous, but I've been seeing like edits on TikTok and stuff of Aziraphale and Crowley series 1, series 2 edits, and I almost can't watch them with the same level of enjoyment because I know what awaits them. I know that they're never going to get to be together as them, because as far as I'm aware, this human version of Aziraphale and Crowley, it isn't them. They didn't get their happy ending. There's definitely some neat bits in the very final. I mean, seeing like all the kind of characters mingle together in a pub as humans, like that was kind of cool and a nice little nod to end it all, but I think it was just a letdown. A letdown because the one thing that the fandom wanted, we didn't get. Especially when, in my eyes, there was no reason not to. Series 2 only really exists as fan service because the whole book is done in Series 1. On Earth is Series 3 then, apart from what should be fan service. And it just isn't that. There was no reason, in my opinion, there's absolutely no reason to end it like that. There's absolutely zero reason to just not let Aziraphale and Crowley live happily. Because we're not getting anything else. And I think that's, yeah. It just doesn't make sense to me because there's no reason for it to end this way. And that's the worst bit. Yeah, I'm really upset and I'm really disappointed. Sorry for how much of a rambly mess this was. And this was mainly just a rant, to be honest. I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me know your opinions down below, because I am really interested. Yeah. Until next time, bye bye.